Welcome, Dr. Gruder, here in this interview for the Societies for the Future network project. I'm so happy to have you back here after 1 year. I think it's just like exactly 1 year almost, isn't it? We had our talk last summer, so it's now 1 year further, and I'm super curious what has happened in our last talk, and you can find the link in the description below. In our last talk, we talked about what is important for the societies for the future, what is important in the consciousness development in people for the societies for the future. So I'm super curious to have like an update of the last things which unfolded in your life and where you've been working on for this transition times.
Yes, well, it's a pleasure to be back with you. It's been too long since we last talked. And just as is always true with your material, it keeps evolving and deepening and growing. And the same thing is true with mine. So there are some good developments for us to talk about. Should we kind of anchor this or start this out with just a quick introduction to this notion of homo machina and homo spiritus?
Yeah, I think that's a good one. So, and then people, if they want to know more, they can then listen to the interview we did some time ago. But yes, it's very good if you can give a summary of what we discussed.
Sure. Well, as I see it, there are a couple of versions of humanity's future that have emerged, and the big question of our time is which of these versions of humanity's future is going to really prevail over time. And one of those two versions I refer to as homo machina, which in Latin is human machine. And that's a future in which a small group of people decide for all of humanity what the future of humanity is going to be, because they think they're smarter than spirit. They think they're smarter than source. And what they're really doing is creating a version of the future of humanity that serves their ego-based, unquenchable need for power and wealth for them at the expense of the rest of us becoming 21st century serfs, slaves. And homo machina is the direction that I don't want to see humanity move in. The other potential future for humanity, as I see it, is what I call homo spiritus, which in Latin is human spirit. And that's where we step into a future in which we are conduits of higher love and wisdom and light in the physical universe, here on Earth in our case. And that's the future that I believe enables us as a species to finally integrate two key components in being human from a spiritual framework. And those two key components are personal freedom and societal well-being. One without the other is incomplete. And we haven't yet, as a species, done a good job of integrating personal freedom and societal well-being in a way where they're not at odds with each other, but where they synergize with each other.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's super important. And so, yeah, what do you think then is concretely needed for this to materialize, for humanity to do this?
Right. Well, I think there are 5 key ingredients for this to happen. And since we last talked, I've been building out my Center for Enlightened Self-Sovereignty, which houses this, and it builds on 2 ebooks that I have developed over the last year, one called The Hijacking of Humanity and the other called Reimagining Humanity. And the framework is what I call the Spark Blueprint for Reimagining Humanity. And it's got 5 ingredients to it in a very specific order because each of these ingredients build on each other. The first is what the S in Spark. Spark's an acronym. And so the S in Spark is shatter your spells, because people are under societal and personal spells that they don't fully recognize. And when we don't recognize that we're under a spell and we don't know how to spot when the spell is being used, and we don't have a much more appealing, attractive alternative to the spell, we just stay stuck. So we can't reimagine a future as long as we're under the spells that prevent that future from being seen, let alone manifested. So the first step is shatter the societal spells and personal spells that have blocked you from being able to reimagine a better future for yourself and for humanity. That's the S in Spark. The P in Spark is picture the future. Now that you're freed from those spells, you can really reimagine an elevated future, a spiritually driven future for humanity. And based on the picturing of the future that that person does, that leads to this third step, which is the A in Spark, and that is align your purpose and paradigm. So in this step, we align our sense of purpose, which for me includes our soul growth mission and our impact mission. We align that purpose and our paradigm, our worldview and our self-view and our values with the version of the future that we want to help bring about, so that there's full integration among those elements where our purpose and our paradigm support us in helping to do our part in bringing about that future that we've reimagined. So that's the third element, is align. And then the R in Spark is reinvent your toolbox, because once we're clear on the future we want to help bring about and what our purpose, what our role is in helping that happen, and the value system, the worldview through which we're going to help bring that about, that always leads to having to upgrade or expand our skill sets in order to embody and facilitate that future that we want to help create. So that's the R in Spark, is reinvent your toolbox. And the fifth step is that once we are well underway in elevating our skill sets, then the K in Spark is kindle collaboration, where we are involved in communities that help to bring about that future, and we're involved in collaborating on initiatives that help to bring about that future, and where we're really building a movement for what I call enlightened self-sovereignty, which is spiritual self-sovereignty that serves us all. It's that, again, integration of personal freedom and societal well-being inside of a spiritual framework for the future of humanity.
Wow, beautiful. So it's beautiful to hear that you are a trainer and a coach and a psychologist also. You develop these beautiful frameworks for them to take the next step. And it's very funny to see that although we didn't spoke for 1 year, that we were totally in the same area moving forward, but me and more on the level of how to translate it to schools and education. Especially this last month, I was like making it very concrete. So I think I applied all your all your five the whole spark concept, but then really to make it concrete, what can teachers, coaches, and parents and do to facilitate that new way of living and creating the future and consciousness transition. So that's for sure. I noticed that, and it's beautiful. I'm very curious to read more. I will also, under the video, put the link then to the center, so people can connect with it and read more about it. And beautiful.
Yes.
It's
I'm not surprised at all that our development over the past year has really paralleled, that we're still in synchronization with each other, even though we've not talked for a while. And what you said is perfect, because what this blueprint is designed for is for leaders and influencers and concerned citizens, and as well as helping professionals and educators and folks like that. So it's a perfect synergy.
Yeah, great. Now, we can see how we can immerse it in the book for the teachers too. That would be nice if because it's so aligned. I think it's a great add-on as an introduction for the book I'm writing now. And maybe for the people who listen to this interview much later, the book is already published. It will be published at least in 3 languages: English, Dutch, and Spanish. So let's see what happens this next period. And if you watch it much later, then you will already find a link about that too.
Marvelous.
So thank you so much. And for the people who want to connect with you, of course, they can find you on your website, on LinkedIn. But at the same time, I know you also already made your profile on Societies for the Future platform. So if people want to connect with you there, feel free. He's on Societies for the Future platform. You can send him a message. You can get there more information from Dr. Gruder. And let's build a community further. Let's create a movement together.
I agree. Let's do it. The time is now. There's no time to waste.
I agree. So thank you so much for this talk, and we'll speak very soon again.
That's great. Thank you for having me again. Take care.
This interview is part of the Societies for the Future Network project, where we imagine and co-create together the Societies for the Future. Share this interview with your friends and connect with like-minded pioneers and experts on the worldwide platform societiesforthefuture.org.